Okay. Uh, when we talk about the rapidly moving molecules, because in the media or in the solution in which the molecules they are actually moving, they may collide with each other. There will be collision between the molecule when they are moving at such rapid speed. So when there is collision, what will happen? After the collision, the molecule they will bounce of each other after collision with each other, like the rubber balls. And in a single second, every second, there may be millions of the collision that may take place between these rapidly moving molecules. After colliding with other molecule, definitely the direction of the movement of the molecule will be altered, and the path will also be what we can say, it will be disturbed. So we can say that at any moment we can't have the predicted path of the movement of any molecule. Mean the molecule, when it will collide, it will go in any, so at any instant, this molecule now it may move in any direction. And what we call this type of the moment, this moment will be called as a random moment, because there is no preferred direction of the moment. As the after collision with the other molecule, this molecule can either bounce back, it can move in either direction. So there will be no preferred direction of the movement, no determined direction of the movement. This type of the movement is called. Uh, are you listening me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Uh,
Yes, sir.
any and you are also visiting the slides on your screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Many processes in living organism, when we talk about the process of diffusion, they are related with the process of diffusion. For example, when we talk about the movement of the nutrients, the oxygen, movement of the oxygen in our blood capillaries, and similarly many other molecules, they may enter and leave the smallest blood vessels or the capillaries via the process of diffusion. So we can say that this is very much essential process in the body, as many molecules, and very important are the essential molecules and essential nutrients, they may enter or leave the body through the process of diffusion. So hence this process is very much important in controlling the metabolism of the body. Similarly, across the plasma membrane, when we talk about the movement of the molecules or the substances across the plasma membrane or the membrane of the organelles, it may also take place via the process of diffusion. So these are some important aspect of the process of diffusion. Here we can say the you can see on your slides the random movement of the molecule. I mean, initially the molecules they are concentrated in a particular area, and after certain period of the time they will move towards the lower concentration, and a point will reach when there will be a uniform distribution of these molecules throughout the solution. This is what we can call it as equilibrium state or the diffusion equilibrium. You can also see the cursor moving on your screen. Can you see the cursor of the mouse or the cursor of the computer moving on your screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The thermal motion of the molecules in a liquid or gas, it will eventually or ultimately it will distribute the molecule uniformly throughout the container. Here you can see in the next slide that all the molecules, due to their thermal motion, due to their motion, due to the temperature or the movement of the molecule due to their body temperature, it will eventually distribute all these molecules uniformly in the media or in the container. So if you start a solution in which the solute is concentrated in one region, let's suppose here at this particular point, the solute is concentrated at this region. So as all of you know that in the process of diffusion, a solute will move from higher concentration to lower concentration. So in the B figure, you can observe that the molecules, they may have moved from their high, and these molecules are actually the solute particles. They have moved from higher concentration to lower concentration, and ultimately, eventually, the media is having or the container is having the uniform distribution of the solute particle. So and these molecules will not have any preferred direction. For example, let's suppose I take this molecule. This molecule may collide with this one, or it may collide with this one, and there will be no preferred direction of the movement of the molecule. But eventually, due to the concentration difference, the molecule will move and will be distributed uniformly throughout in the media, and unless until there is concentration difference, mean difference of the solute particles on two sides, the solute particle will continue to move from higher concentration to lower concentration. So this is basically due to their random, one is random motion and other is thermal motion, mean the molecules move in unpredicted way, and they also move due to their thermal motion or due to their temperature, and the molecule will redistribute the solute from regions of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration, and unless this movement will continue unless the uniform concentration will be there in the solution, the uniform concentration of the solute. Here in this B figure, you can observe that there is a uniform distribution of the solute in the solution. So initially there is higher concentration, molecule will move from region of higher concentration to region of lower concentration, and there will be a net diffusion from higher to lower concentration until they become uniformly distributed. This movement is actually called as diffusion, as there is movement of the molecule towards their concentration gradient, mean when there is difference of the concentration, where there is difference of the concentration, the molecule will move, and this movement is actually due to their random thermal motion, which is called diffusion. So when we talk about the magnitude and direction of the diffusion, now we have explained the process of diffusion, that it is actually the movement of the molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration due to their thermal motion, and this motion is actually random in nature. It is not in a preferred direction. So here in this figure, we can see that, and we are taking glucose as an example, as a molecule which is actually behaving as a solute in this particular example. So here diffusion of the glucose between the two compartments. This is compartment 1 and this is compartment 2, and the glucose initially the glucose is concentrated in the compartment 1, and this membrane is actually permeable to the glucose molecule, as all of you know. Before discussing the movement of the molecule across the membrane, and I hope that all of you are familiar with the properties of the plasma membrane. That plasma membrane is actually the selectively permeable membrane. I mean, it allows some molecule to pass through it, and it denies some other molecule to pass through. So that's how we can say that this plasma membrane is selectively permeable membrane. So here the membrane of this compartment is actually permeable to the glucose molecule. It will permit the movement of the molecule from compartment 1 to compartment 2. Initial concentration of the glucose is 20 millimolar per liter. This is the solution where glucose is dissolved as solute, and the concentration of the glucose in this particular solution is 20 millimolar per liter. And initially, as you can see here, there is no glucose in the compartment 2. So the concentration of the glucose in the compartment 2 is 0, whereas the concentration of the glucose in compartment 1 is 20 millimolar per liter, and this is the time A. time A. This is any, let's suppose any specific time, we call it as time A. At time B, after, let's suppose after 5 minutes, after 10 minutes, and we may call that as time B, some molecules of the glucose, because of the permeable nature of this membrane of the compartment 1, some molecules of the glucose, they will start to move from compartment 1 to compartment 2, and this movement will be in a direction which is actually indicated by this arrowhead, and this length of the arrowhead is actually also it also determines the magnitude or the intensity of the movement of the molecule. Larger arrowhead means large number of the molecules are moving from compartment 1 to compartment 2, but because this membrane is permeable to this glucose molecule, at the same time some glucose molecule, they will also move from compartment 2 to compartment 1. They will also move back from compartment 2 to compartment 1. If you have any question, you are not getting any point, you may unmute your microphone at the spot and you can ask the question. So this length of this arrowhead will actually determines the magnitude of the movement of the glucose molecule, and this is larger as compared to this second arrowhead, which is actually small. So it means at time B, more number of the glucose molecules are actually moving from compartment 1 to compartment 2, and this small arrowhead indicates that a small number of the glucose molecule, because of the permeability and because of the thermal motion, and similarly because of the collision between these glucose molecule in the solution, a small number of the glucose molecule at the same time, they may also move from compartment 2 to compartment 1, and length of the arrow actually represent the magnitude of the one-way movement. This is one-way movement. This arrow indicates that movement in this direction is more as compared to the movement in the other direction. So okay, when we move to the time C, here at time C, you can observe that both of these arrowhead, they are having same length of the having same length. So same length arrowhead means now at this particular time C, let's suppose this is after 20 minutes, after 30 minutes, and we may call it as time C. At time C, there is equal movement of the glucose molecule from compartment 1 to compartment 2 and from compartment 2 to compartment 1. So these two movements are equal in magnitude, but they are opposite in direction. As these arrowheads, they are indicating that in case of in this case, the molecules, glucose molecules, are actually moving from compartment 1 to compartment 2, and this arrowhead indicates that glucose molecule are moving from compartment 2 to compartment 1. So at this time C, which is let's suppose which is after 30 minutes or after 40 minutes, now there is equal movement, or the magnitude of the movement of this solute particle is equal, but the direction of the movement is opposite. I mean, from compartment 1 to compartment 2, at the same number of the molecules, same number of the glucose molecule, they are also moving from compartment 1. And at this time C, now there is uniform or the equal concentration of the glucose molecule in the two compartments. Let's suppose in compartment 1, now it will be 10 millimole per liter, and similarly in compartment 2, it will also have the same concentration, which will be 10 millimole per liter. So at given time C, now both the compartments, they will have the equal concentration of the glucose molecule. Okay, now if we see at this graph, this is actually towards the x-axis, there is glucose concentration, which is indicated in millimole per liter, and towards the y-axis there is time. So let's suppose at the time 0, at the initial time, which we have called it as time A, the concentration of the glucose is 20 millimolar per liter. And when the time start to increase from 0, the time will start to increase, and let's suppose the time has reached to the B. At B time, there will be some sort of the glucose concentration has declined in compartment, where this is C1 is the concentration of the glucose in the compartment 1, and the C2 is the concentration of the glucose in the compartment 2. So this blue line actually indicates the concentration of the glucose in the compartment 1 initially at time A, or at time, let's suppose at 0 time. The whole of the concentration of the glucose was 20 millimolar per liter, and it was at compartment 1. Now when the time starts, and let's suppose after 10 minutes, we may call this as time B. Now the concentration of the glucose in compartment 1 will start to decrease, whereas the concentration of the glucose in compartment 2 will start to increase. And at time B, we will have some sort of the glucose concentration also in the compartment 2, and some glucose molecule, they may have decreased from the compartment 1 also. And similarly, at after time C, let's suppose this is the time C. Here you can see these two lines there, they have merged with each other. It means at this particular time C, the concentration of the glucose has decreased to 10 millimolar per liter, and similarly at this time C, the concentration of the glucose in the compartment 2, which is actually indicated by this yellow line, it has increased to 10 millimolar. Hence at this particular time C, C1 is equal to C2, mean at this particular time C, there will be equal concentration of the glucose. So after this time, no more movement will take place, because both the compartments will have the equal concentration, equal number of the glucose molecule. That's why we can say that at this particular time there is the equilibrium state, which we will also call it as a diffusion equilibrium. Now although the movement of the molecule will continue, because as you know that because of their thermal motion and because of the collision, the molecule will continue to move, but there will be no net difference of the concentration. Because if, let's suppose, two molecules of the glucose, they at the time C, they have moved from compartment 1 to compartment 2. At the same time, the two molecules of the glucose, they may move back from compartment 2 to compartment 1. So in real sense, the movement of the molecules or the movement of the solute particle will continue, but there will be no net difference of the concentration of the solute molecule in the two compartments. This is what we can call it as the diffusion equilibrium state. Now the net movement will be 0. When the concentration reaches to 10 millimole per liter, the net movement will be 0. There will be no, although the movement in real sense, movement will continue because the molecules are colliding with each other, they are having their thermal motion, but the movement, the loss of these two glucose molecules from compartment 1 will be compensated by the two glucose molecules that may again move from compartment 2 to compartment 1. So this is the graph where you can observe the concentration of C1 and the concentration of the C2 at a particular time. The concentration of both of these molecules will reach to equilibrium state. Mean there will be no difference of the concentration. So this was the example which we have discussed in the previous slide, that the diffusion is diffusion of the glucose molecules between two compartments of the equal volume. They are basically separated by the permeable barrier. The membrane is actually permeable to the glucose molecule, and initially the glucose was present in higher concentration in compartment 1, and in compartment 2 there was 0 concentration. So initial concentration of the glucose in the compartment 1 was 20 millimole per liter, and there was no concentration of the glucose in the compartment 2. So due to the random motion of the glucose molecule and the collision of the glucose molecule in the compartment 1, some of them, they may move to the compartment 2, and this amount of the material which is actually crossing the membrane, that is called flux. This movement of the glucose molecule from compartment 1 to compartment 2, this is called flux. Initially this flux will be one-way flux, because there is no concentration of the glucose in the compartment 1, and there is in the compartment 2, and there is all concentration of the glucose is actually present in the compartment 1. So initially the flux will be one way, as we have determined by the arrowhead, but after certain period of the time, the two-way flux will start, as the concentration of the glucose molecule in compartment 2 that has increased. So some glucose molecule, due to their collision, due to their random thermal motion, they may start to move back to the compartment. So this is actually called as flux. So number of the molecules in a unit of volume, if they are doubled, flux will also double. Mean the movement is actually dependent upon the concentration of the molecule. If you increase the concentration of the glucose in one compartment, at the same time the movement of the glucose molecule from that compartment to the other compartment will also be double. So it actually, the movement or the rate of the diffusion is also dependent upon the concentration difference or the concentration of the solute particle in a particular area. Since twice many molecule will be moving in any direction at given time. When there is double concentration, double amount of the molecule, they will start to move in any direction because of their concentration gradient. So after a short time, as we have discussed, some glucose molecule, they may enter to the compartment 2, and they, because of the random motion and their collision with each other, they will start to move back into the compartment 1. So the magnitude is actually, I have told you, that is dependent upon the concentration of the gradient. Where the concentration will move more intensely, the molecule will move from that region to where there is low concentration. So magnitude is actually dependent upon the concentration. If there is low concentration, the molecules will move with low magnitude, and if there is high concentration, the molecule will move with high magnitude from the area which is having high concentration to the area which is having the lower concentration. So as I have told you, that one-way movement of the glucose is actually called the flux. As the concentration of the glucose is increased in the compartment 2, some molecule will move again from compartment 2 to compartment 1. So now we have to actually calculate the net flux, that what is the net gain or net loss of the glucose molecule in the 2 compartments. So this net gain or the net flux is actually between the 2 compartments in any instant is actually difference between the 2 one-way fluxes. When we individually take these 2 one-way fluxes and we calculate the difference between 2 one-way fluxes, that is actually called the net flux. For example, let's suppose at any given time, let's say that 20 molecules of the glucose, they have moved from compartment 1 to compartment 2, and due to the thermal motion, let's suppose 5 molecules of the glucose, they have moved back from the compartment 2 to the compartment 1. So what is the net flux in this case? Net flux will be 15 glucose molecules. That is the actually difference between the magnitude of the fluxes in the 2 compartments. So net flux in this case will be actually 15 molecules of the glucose, they have actually moved from compartment 1 to compartment 2. Okay, it is the net flux that determine the net gain of the glucose molecule that have entered into the compartment 2, and similarly the net loss from the compartment 1. Eventually, as I have told you, that the solution will reach in an equilibrium state where the solution in the 2 compartments is having the equal concentration of the solute particle. Let's suppose let's say at the time C. At the time C, we have actually the equal concentration of the solute particle in the 2 compartments. Now, although in real sense the movement of the molecule will be there, but there will be no net gain or loss in the 2 compartments. The same number of the molecule which are moving from 1 to 2, they will move back from 2 to 1. So there is no net difference or no net flux. So when this point is reached in any solution, that is actually called the diffusion equilibrium state, and in that, at that particular point, there will be no net flux of the glucose. At that particular time, the net flux of the glucose is 0, meaning the concentration of the solute particle, which is glucose in this particular example, the concentration of the glucose in the 2 compartment is equal, and there is no net flux of the glucose, which is called as the diffusion equilibrium. So no further change in the glucose concentration of the compartment will take place, since equal number of the glucose molecule will continue to diffuse in both directions between the 2 compartments. This is what we can call it as the diffusion equilibrium. So several properties of the diffusion, they can be emphasize by using this example. For example, here we can also determine the net flux. As I have told you that the length of this arrowhead is actually determine the magnitude of the movement. So in this case, huge number of the glucose molecules, they are moving from higher concentration, which is C1, to lower concentration, which is 2. So this is one way flux. Similarly, some molecules, when there is enough concentration of the glucose in the compartment 2, these molecules, they will collide with each other. Let's suppose these molecules will collide with each other, and some of these molecules, they may move back from compartment 2 to compartment 1. Now the length of this arrowhead now will be decreased, and this is actually called the net flux. As I have told you, let's suppose 1000 glucose molecules have moved from C1 to C2, and we are calculating, or we are representing that 1000 molecule with this arrowhead. So when there is enough concentration of the glucose in the compartment 2, let's suppose 80 of those molecules or 100 of those molecules, they may have moved back from compartment 2 to compartment 1. So definitely now the net flux will be 800 glucose molecule, and the length of this arrowhead will also decrease. So this is what we can call it as the net flux. This net flux is actually the actual difference, or the actual number of the molecules which has moved from one compartment to the other compartment. So 3 fluxes can be identified in this particular example. This is one way flux. This is again one way flux. This is one way flux from C1 to C2, compartment 1 to compartment 2. This is one way flux from compartment 2 to compartment 1, and this is what we can call it as the net flux. This is the actual number of the glucose molecule that has been lost from this compartment and that has been added to this compartment. So these two one way fluxes, always remember that one way flux will always be opposite in direction. This is from C1 to C2, and this is from C2 to C1, and the net flux will be calculated by the difference between these two one way fluxes. So net flux always occur in the direction from higher to lower concentration. So here is higher concentration, here is a lower concentration. So net flux of the molecule will always be from higher concentration to the lower concentration. So one-way fluxes will be in opposite direction, and net flux will always be from higher to lower concentration. And net flux is very much important because it is the net amount of the material that has actually moved. As I have told you in example, that actually the 900 glucose molecule, they are the net flux. They have been lost from compartment 1 and they have been added to the compartment 2. So this is, although the movement of the individual molecule is random, net flux will always proceed from higher to lower concentration. We have discussed that there is no preferred direction, but still because of the concentration difference, the molecule will move from higher concentration to lower concentration. So when we call the net flux or the flux will always have a preferred, will always have a direction which is determined direction, and that will always will be from higher concentration to lower concentration. Although the molecules are colliding with each other, they have no preferred direction, but when we calculate that movement in a bulk form, in a flux form, we will say that the molecule or the net flux will always be from region of higher concentration to region of lower concentration. Sometimes we also call it as downhill movement, that the molecule will move downhill by the process. Downhill mean the difference of the concentration between the concentration of the solute between the two compartments, that is downhill, from higher concentration to lower concentration. So the greater the difference in the concentration, greater will be the movement of the molecule, and similarly the greater will be the magnitude of the net flux. If there is 0 glucose molecule in one compartment and 100 glucose molecule in the other compartment, so there is greater difference, so the flux will be larger. So if there are 10 to 20 molecules of the glucose in that compartment 2 and 80 molecules of the glucose in the compartment 1, so definitely the magnitude of the flux will be less as compared to the first example. So both the direction and the magnitude of the flux are actually determined by the by the concentration difference. As I have told you that the direction will always be from higher to lower concentration. Similarly, magnitude is also determined by the concentration difference. If there is huge concentration difference, the molecule will move more intensity, will more magnitude. So this is the concentration difference is actually affecting the magnitude and the direction. Similarly, there are other factors which are also affecting the magnitude of the net flux. So first important thing is the concentration difference, the magnitude of the net flux. In addition to the concentration difference, it is also dependent upon several other factors. For example, the temperature. As I have told you, the higher the temperature, the greater will be the speed of the molecule. For example, gas molecules will move with more speed as compared to the liquid molecules, and similarly the liquid molecules will move with more speed as compared to the solid particles, because there is concentration, there is difference of the temperature. So higher the temperature of the molecule, the greater the speed, greater will be the speed of the movement of the molecule. And similarly, when there is greater will be the net flux of the molecule. Similarly, mass of the molecule, as I have told you, that the diffusion is also dependent upon the mass of the molecule. Large molecule will move more slowly as compared to the smaller molecule. Large molecule, for example, when we talk about the proteins, they have greater mass and their speed will be lower. And smaller molecule, for example, we have glucose, we have water, several other small molecule, they will have smaller net flux, mean they will move with rapid speed as compared to the larger molecule. Surface area. In addition to the temperature, which is affecting the magnitude of the flux, mass, which is also affecting the magnitude of the flux, the third important factor is the surface area. The greater the surface area between the two regions, the greater the space. As I have told you that the molecules are actually in collision, in random collision with each other. So they need space. So whenever there will be the large space is available, the molecules will move more rapidly and they will have the large surface area available for their movement. So greater the space available, the at greater rate they will diffuse from one region or the higher concentration to the lower concentration, and hence the flux of the molecule will also be greater. And the last important factor is the medium. Medium is also very much important. Medium through which the molecules are actually moving. Molecules move more rapidly in air than in water. For example, you spray any perfume or any other thing in the air, that will diffuse more frequently, more rapidly as compared to that when that is dissolved in the liquid media. So the medium is also very much important. The molecules, they move more rapidly in air as compared to the water, because in air there is large space and the collision are less, but in water, because of the scarcity of the space, the molecule, they may collide with each other, so it will affect their net flux. So that's why media is very much important. So collisions are less frequent in gas phase as compared to the liquid phase. So when the membrane is involved, its chemical composition will also influence the diffusion rate. Mean whether the membrane is selectively permeable, it is impermeable, or it is totally permeable. So the properties of the membranes, that is properties of the membrane, they are also important in determining the magnitude of the net flux. So that is all about today. You may have any question, you can ask a question. Okay ji, any question?
No, sir. समझ आ गई है.
All participants were there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Atiya nahi.
Who is absent?
Atiya sir, Atiya को connect नहीं हो रहा.
क्या नहीं हो रहा? Sorry.
Atiya का connection weak है sir.
Okay. Okay, let me make all of you as an attendee. Okay, any question? No question?
No, sir.
और सर
समझ आ गई आप लोगों को?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me download your attendance. Stay connected, please, as I'm uploading your attendance on CMS also.